allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Saltram? Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Burry?
Here, item 1D, approval of minutes. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes. Item E, summary of current events. Superintendent's report, Mrs. Samaniego.
Board members, I did send you the latest governing board update, so some of the information I will share is on your governing board update. We want to let you know that we have a district spelling bee winner, and that is our Huber student, Jorge Montes, who will be competing at the Cochise County Spelling Bee in the next couple weeks. We also have our soccer season is completed. The boys are still playing. Kayla Navarra, we want to congratulate her. She qualified for the state competition in wrestling. And the boys soccer too? They're on their playoffs, yeah, so still going. And the boys in wrestling are still competing, and they are participating in state sectionals in the next few weeks too. This was the first week of spring sports, so you will see in the softball, baseball, tennis, all of the spring sports that are starting. And also want to congratulate the GHS cheer squad for their state competitions, and they will be, I think Ms. Varallardos is going to be here to present, at least she has to be on the, to present the trophy. Along the lines of athletics, I just want to inform the board and the community that the past couple weeks, you may have seen the football lights on late at night and also the baseball lights on at night. And that's always a concern because the lights are very expensive to run those lights. So the football field has a new system of LED lights that was just completed, I believe, over the course of the break, right? So the last couple weeks, the company set him up on a timer system. And so what it was, they were being turned on a half an hour before sunset and usually off till about anywhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. So that was a 2-week test that they did, and that's why you may have seen the lights on, sort of late at night. The baseball field, the lights have been on usually till about 7:30-ish. Because since the Douglas High School has initiated the construction project, remember that the practice fields are off limits to the kids. And so since that began, the kids have been practicing, and they do have an open field, kind of a practice year-round. So just want to let the board and our community know that we are keeping an eye on it. So now the football lights that are past the 2-week kind of a timer test system, the athletic director and his staff, and I believe maintenance, Mr. Ruiz, will be managing that. And Mr. Soto is very involved, and we shouldn't see anything past 7:30-ish, and they will manually turn off the lights at the end of their practices. So I just wanted to let and inform you of that. We are currently in a Zella testing cycle, so that is for all of our ELL learners, and we hope that many of our schools are able to reclassify and push those kids into the proficiency level. And that is all I have. Oh, Mr. Soto will be mentioning a little bit on the AEL, so I'll let him talk about that on his report.
Mr. Soto,
Do you want me to go on my report now?
I think you're up next anyway, aren't you? Oh, no, governing
No.
board members. Let's, members of the board, do you have any reports you'd like to share with the? None? I'm glad you mentioned that about the lights, because there was a board member and myself as well that had gotten some feedback on those lights being on all the time, and that's important information for the community to know as to why. So I'm sure she would have asked about that. Under F, we have a Douglas High School Spirit Line report by Andrea. Is she here?
And she is not here.
She's trying to get the trophy, but it's locked.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll
We'll move
go
on, and then maybe
Yeah, when she comes here,
Okay.
we'll do whatever we have to. Alejandra, do you have a student report?
Yes, I do. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and members of the public. The activity report at DHS and DUSD schools for the month of February is as follows. Our school highlights. We've got great news to share about our students at DHS. Our DHS Spirit Line are state champions. They are state champions in partner stunt and co-ed cheer. Congratulations to our FBLA student for placing in the FBLA region conference at EAC. Yanixa Treviso, first place in client services. Horacio Delgado, first place in business management. And Roberto Cruz, second place in business calculations. DHS HOSA attended the Arizona HOSA Region 4 Leadership Conference. Congratulations to several members who qualified for the HOSA State Leadership Conference. Congratulations to Kayla Navarro, as she is a state qualifier for girls wrestling. What's going on in our district? February 9th, parent-teacher conferences for all schools. February 20th, President's Day, no school. Azela testing will happen in the month of February. Our 4th and 5th grade students will participate in the 10th annual Irma de la Vega basketball tournament on Saturday, February 25th. Valentine's Day celebrations at all elementary schools. We do want to remind all parents, community members, and our floral businesses that while we do love to celebrate Valentine's Day, we kindly ask that no flower deliveries be made to the school buildings to keep the school day as normal as possible. DHS, February 6th, PTSO meeting, senior parent night. February 9th, soccer boys state playing game. February 10th and 11th, Skills USA State Regional Championships. February 17th, Skills USA STEM Challenge at Joe Carlson Elementary. February 18th, Skills USA Criminal Justice Regionals. February 23rd through the 25th, DECA State Conference. February 24th to the 25th, FFA CDE State Competition. Week of February 20th, Spring Sports Competition commences. March 1st, HOSA Mock Judging. March 4th, Ted James Invitational. Ray Brain, PTSO meeting February 2nd, Valentine's Dance February 15th. Paul Huber, Jersey Day February 10th, and PTSO meeting February 13th. Clausen, February 1st, our PTSO Penny War The Revenge begins. February 14th, Lunch with a Loved One, Valentine's Parties. And February 17th, Jump for Heart begins. Stevenson, February 13th, Parent Night. February 16th, Jump Rope for Heart kicks off. February 23rd, Nutrition 101 class. Joe Carlson, February 2nd, Jump Rope for Heart fundraiser has begun with Wear Red Fridays. February 10th, PTSO hosts Valentine's Day Family Dance, and February 15th, Student Council hosts Movie Night. And Ferris, Dr. Seuss Week begins on February 27th. Ferris 5th Grade Kindness Club is underway and led by our counselor, Mr. Romero, and 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Molina. And AHA Jump for Heart is underway. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Mr. Soto, the budget balance and travel.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. President, board members. Again, it's my monthly report, and this is the balance report for the month of January. Again, as I said on the previous board meeting, we're planning to have a budget revision for next month. One of the reasons why is the enrollment. As you know, I mean, we keep losing kids, so we need to adjust our budget for that. I don't know if you have a specific questions in regards to this report right now. No. And like Superintendent Samaniego mentioned, in terms of the AEL, the bill has been proposed. It's on the floor, but there's no movement yet. We're still very confident that it's going to pass, but again, legislature is just taking their time. Most likely it's going to go until the last day, which is March 1st, to give us an answer. But again, everybody's optimistic on a way that it's going to pass again. So I don't know if you guys have a specific question or...
Back to the budget report.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all of the adversity and all of the negativity we see coming out of the legislature towards public schools, and again, the major concern for the AEL, and we won't know anything about that probably until March the 1st. And also keeping with the commitment of this board that we've always tried to do everything we can for our staff. I think that it would be appropriate because you and I have discussed the budget and informally with Mrs. Samaniego. And we look at the budget reports, and you didn't get into all of the intricacies of anything, but it's my feeling, and I'm assured that I have the support of the board, that I would like to see you, the administration, bring back to this board, because of all the circumstances that are going on right now, to look at an item that the district's been talking about off and on forever, right? And that's the decompression of the salary schedules.
Correct.
I would like to take to the board, if you bring the information to us, that you adjust those schedules with whatever money you have available now. You do it now. And you come back to the board so that we can put everybody where they actually belong. And a lot of it is, for lack of a better term, it's going to be catch-up.
Correct.
So, and that's to include all certified staff, that's to include the principals as well. And I'm sure that it will affect some of them too, with the legitimacy and the balancing out, okay? Then after March the 1st, and I'm sure we'll have the support of the board, because I know what we've discussed over the years and the philosophy that we've always had, is that I would like to see you come back with another amount to give a one-time payment to all certified. And I see you gasping over it. But I, no, truthfully, because times are bad, and if we don't take advantage of what we have currently, and without losing the fiscal responsibility that we as board members have, and also that you have, that if we can do those two things, that if we look at that decompression, and the good thing about the decompression is that it's going to be a sustainable and an ongoing thing. Then after March the 1st, depending on what we find out about the AEL, then you come back to the board as well and say, we're looking good, they passed it. Then we want to look at a lump sum payment to all certified staff. Right, board members? I didn't want to put you on the spot. But I think, and Mr. Smith, I don't know, this board has been committed
For
ever
several
since
years.
we've been here to doing the best we can for our staff. And this would give us an opportunity, and I know, I saw the budget, I'm familiar with it, that it can be done.
Correct.
And I think it would be something that would be extremely beneficial to teachers, and it would be attractive to new teachers, but we'll finally, hopefully, put people where they belong. All right?
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, that's going to be part of the budget revision next month. So again, hopefully by then, I think our next board meeting is scheduled for the 7th, March 7th. So by then, we're going to have enough information to make that recommendation at the same time.
But that may be a little bit earlier than that meeting, Mr. Soto. We may have to have a special board meeting
Yeah.
in order to
Okay.
bring this and get this approved.
But he also mentioned the loss of students, and that's one of the reasons
Yes,
for the
that we're
revision.
doing,
And that's the other thing that's looking us in the face, because we don't know what we're going to do next year. But I want to make it clear that we're looking at those two things for now, but then we will be looking at what type of an increase we can do for the following year.
Correct.
Okay?
understand.
And then one last word, classified, I think the district, with your recommendation, support of the board, I think with classified, we've made some significant progress with them over the years, correct?
Correct.
So we might look at them, but then we'll concentrate
For next year.
on certified. Is that all right?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
bring that back to the board?
Yes.
Will do.
All right. Okay, so do you have anything else, any questions or reaction to that at all?
No, not really.
No, and we do have the numbers already. We've been working with our salary committee on the compression issue, and we have those numbers, we have a presentation, and we're ready to go.
Okay, you got the numbers ready to go?
Yep.
And then the other one would be a lump sum payment, and we
Right.
would be looking at that as well, all right? That would come after, so we're looking at two things, all right? I think Andrea walked in, is that correct?
Yes, Ms.
And,
Barayardos is here.
So, okay, I'll let you do the honors on that and do the introduction.
Well, Ms. Barayardos, if you can please come up. I know you were trying to get the trophy that was behind locked doors or gates or classroom, I don't know where. It's a big trophy. Yes. We just had the Grammy Awards, so now we have the Swim Team Award night. And congratulations to you and the athletes for a phenomenal job, and we're very proud of all of your athletic abilities. So, Ms. Barayardos.
Thank you. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your board meeting to recognize.
The mic, Andrea,
Oh,
the mic.
sorry.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys taking your time out of your night to recognize our athletes. They've worked really hard all year long. We start in April, May, and we go all year until we get to the state championships. This year, they competed in both partner stunt and in co-ed cheer, and they won the state championship in both. And there's 6 awards altogether they give. They give some specialty awards out, and of the 4 specialty awards, we won 3 of those as well. So it was a really good year for us, and I'm super proud of all of them. Carlos is my captain, along with Katrina. If you guys want to say something. And we wanted to come and present our trophy to you.
Thank you guys for having us. I'm really proud of my team. We worked really hard. It was definitely a very strong and tiring season, but it all worked out. We worked really hard. We won, and it's just an overall great experience, especially as a captain and as a senior, because it's my last year with these guys, and I just made so many good memories with them that it's just a great way to end our season.
Congratulations.
Once again, thank you for having us. I'm honored to be standing here for the 2nd year in a row. This is my 3rd state championship as I leave Douglas High School this year. So I'm glad we're able to bring this home, a representation of all the hard work and dedication that goes into our sport year-round, basically. And I'm excited to see what the team does this next season when I'm gone, but yeah, I just hope we can come back a 3rd year in a row state champions. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
I do want to recognize my assistants, which I wouldn't be able to do this without them. Yetzabel Rojas, Ramon Barreros, and Isabel Niebles, who's a nurse now, so she's not able to be here. But without them, it wouldn't be possible. And of course, my parents that are diehard supporters. So
Over your booster club and
yes, my booster club.
fundraising and all that.
Yes, because it's a very expensive sport for those of you that have ever been in the sport. But yes.
Well, congratulations,
great.
athletes. We're very proud of you.
And this, we always say that this isn't just for us. This is for our entire community, because it takes a village in order to win something like this. So thank you.
And there's very many, there's a lot of little girls and boys looking up to the Douglas High School cheer squad, and so you are an example to them. So thank you for your hard work and the long hours.
And we don't want you to apologize for being up there 2 years in a row. We'd like to see more of that. And then also, Andrea, really a special congratulations to you too, because as a coach, I mean, the students come and go, and they're worthy of all the praise they get and everything. But you know, to have the coach ongoing, doing such a good job, people need to understand in coaching the difficulty of even getting to the regions and then getting to the state and then winning it all. That's a real big plus for you, and we want to congratulate you on that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
It does take a lot of sacrifice, that's for sure.
I'm sure
Yes,
you
Anna.
guys do. Alma, you want to take a group picture with the kids and the trophy and Ms. Barayabas up here and the assistants too? We'll share it with Mr. Bruce.
Yeah. And of course, I did forget to mention our administration too, our principal and athletic director.
10.
You guys are gonna take a picture, so stand in front.
Congratulations.
Here. Carlos. Yeah, stay here for a picture. I'm gonna take 2 rows, kind of squat a little bit so that you could still see the school board behind you.
Congratulations.
You want to stand up?
Isabel, Mr. Balayardos.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, and you're serious. That's a great, great honor.
Congratulations. Good job.
Just moving on. All right. Okay, we'll move on to Human Resources, Mrs. Cox.
So good afternoon. As Mr. Soto has already pointed out, our current enrollment is at 3,805, down from December where we were at 3,820. We still have kinder registration that's ongoing. Annual registrations are also ongoing, and I need to remind parents that this is something that is done on an annual basis. So some parents say, I've already done it. Well, we need to do it every year.
And that's the verification of residence.
Residency, yes. And we will also be holding monthly job fairs beginning this month. So we'll have one in February, one in March, hopefully one in April, and one in May to make sure we have our teachers before June is my goal. That's all I have for today.
Okay, thank you. Members of the board, any comments regarding anything? Public comments, we have 2. The first one is, in order as they were presented, is Martha Alonso, and she wants to talk about HOSA.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, members of our administration, and members of the public. My name is Marta Alonso, and I am one of the 4 advisors for HOSA at the high school. And we just finished getting our results a couple hours ago, so I put in the note for the public's. So we do have 4 chapters at Douglas High School. We have sports medicine, medical innovations, mental and social health, and my chapter is biomedical. And we went to regionals last month, like Alejandra mentioned. We had 100 students qualify to go to regionals. Out of the 100 students, 45 of them placed in the top 5 and qualified to go to state. But there's 2 ways to get to regionals. To get to state, excuse me. You can go to regionals or you can take online testing. And we just finished getting our results for online testing. As of right now, we had a total of 155 students that qualified to go to state for HOSA for Douglas High School. Before Mr. Young panics, there's kids that qualified for more than one event, so they do get to pick only one, so that's not necessarily 150 kids going, but they did score everybody else in the state, so we're very proud of them because we definitely show up when it comes to that. So In HOSA, we have events that are public speaking, that are team events, and we also have test events that are skilled-based, and then we have just tests that are multiple choice. And so in order to prepare our students, we are running a practice for them, which Alejandra mentioned in her report, March 1st. And so we are here to give you an invitation. And I would like to introduce to you our secretary.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and the members of the public. My name is Carol Villalobos, and I am here today to cordially invite you all to be judges at our March 1st conference. The purpose is to give members the opportunity to practice and receive feedback for better prepare them for state, hopefully for them to make it to nationals. I will be emailing you a formal invitation about all of the information. If you or any of the members public wish to volunteer, we would greatly appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are planning this for a Wednesday, and it'll be from 2 to 4 when students actually practice their events, and we are asking for judges to help them prepare. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have sessions for them as a mini conference and give them dinner just to prepare them and kind of make sure that they're ready to go to state. So hopefully you can join us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2A, approval of the following consent agenda. I'm sorry?
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have another one? The band director
Mr. Brittany from middle school directors.
and the middle school director.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, members of the community, and Douglas Unified School District staff. We are both here to just give some updates about the band program that we have going on, because they don't always get mentioned, and we want to make sure that you guys know that they're doing a lot of stuff too this year. Most recently, we had a group of high school students that we took to EAC on January 25th. Mrs. Alma Valenzuela went with us, so she got to experience what they went through that whole day. It was a very long day. We left here at 6 in the morning, and we got back about between 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night. So it was a very long day of music. So these kids are very, very dedicated. For EAC Honor Band, there's about 17 different high schools represented from all of eastern Arizona, including as far north as Show Low and Snowflake, and as far south as Douglas. So, and everybody in between. So there's a lot of us there. This year, Mr. Darris, he nominated quite a few students, so I'll let him tell you who those were.
Yeah, I'd like to give recognition to each and every one of them. It wasn't just band, it was also choir too. So I would like for you guys to hear some of these students that got to attend. We had Aslan Forrest from 9th grade, Arleth Grijalva, also 9th grade, Jose Jacobo, 10th grade, and Jocelyn Morales, 10th grade, who are all part of our choir there that got to sing with a variety of other choirs in 2 different languages, which we had to teach within 1 month to them. So we had both Latin and we had a Japanese piece that was taught to them. We also had around 15 band students represented from Douglas, which was the most out of all the high schools. So we had a 12th grader, Emilio Martinez, 11th grader, Angel Dominguez, 11th grade, Sergio Tarango, Ivan Sincampia, 11th grade, Rafael Segura Mendez, 11th grade, Jasmine Stein Torres, 11th grade, Mariska Taranoni, 10th grade, Ethania Durazo, 10th grade, Zach Morales, 10th grade, Abdallah Verduzco, 10th grade, Yaniel Maya, 9th grade, Luis Gracia, 9th grade, Isaac Gutierrez, 9th grade, Katia Hernandez, 9th grade, Azrael Monge, 9th grade, and one of the people here, Angelique Valenzuela, 9th grade's daughter.
The only person he didn't mention was our one 10th grade choir student who actually got to perform a solo that day, and that was Nomi Villa. She was a 10th grader. She's also part of band. Most of the choir students who participated, they're band and choir students, so they are in both. But you can only pick one because you only have the day to rehearse with everybody. The next thing I would like to talk about is middle school. We actually have middle school honor band coming up this next weekend. It's actually at Flowing Wells High School in Tucson.
I was able to only select just so many students out of the 65 middle school band students between the two middle schools. This year, I did select Ashley Urbina from Ray Bahrain, 8th grader, Diego Duarte, Paul Huber Middle School, 8th grade, Esteban Durazo, Huber Middle School, 8th grade, Dante Silvas, Huber, 8th grade, Fernanda Grijalba, Huber, 8th grade, Atania Durazo, Huber, 8th grade, and Janelle Teran, Huber, 8th grade. Out of those students, we had 2 selected to represent Huber. We have Atania Durazo on bass clarinet and Janelle Teran on trumpet. These 2 students, I have seen them in school every day working on their honor band music and what we're doing in class. So they're being bombarded with music right now. And they're working hard, and they have mastered this new music, and let me tell you, it's actually difficult. I've tried playing it. Even I've had a couple of little hiccups trying to learn their music because I'm not the one teaching it, so I'm not used to hearing it and reading it. The next thing that we would actually like to mention is this year's Douglas Days Parade, which is coming up in May. Everybody knows about it. The theme this year is the past, present, and future of Douglas. So, with that being said, we are actually inviting all alumni, Douglas Marching Band alumni, to come and march in the parade with us this year. We are going to have them represent Douglas's past by wearing the past uniform. This year's marching band will wear the present uniform, and Paul Huber and Ray Bahrain will be wearing their uniforms and marching in the parade as well. So hopefully, we'll have a band of between 150 and 200 people marching in the parade this year to represent our past, present, and future of Douglas. And then lastly, we would like to personally invite the community and the board to our end of the year concert on May 16th. It will feature all music programs that we have in the district right now. So that's Douglas High School Jazz Band, Douglas High School Choir, Douglas High School Band, and the combined bands of Ray Bahrain and Paul Huber. And it will be held at the high school. It starts at 6. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, before you go,
Yes.
first of all, I want to tell you that I've heard a lot of positive comments about what you do with the alumni. They like that. The other thing is, how many students, you said 65 at the middle school?
I do. I have
How many at
I
the
have
high school?
13 at Ray Bahrain and the rest are at Huber.
Currently, right now, this year, we have 38 in band. I have over 17 in choir. Next year, we're looking at 44 for band, already enrolled in my program, so we're growing. They're also looking at changing the numbers for our marching band next year with AZMBA to lower it. So we should be moving up divisions next year, the way things are going.
Are the middle schools combined, did you say?
We do our concerts combined. They get music depending on what grade level they're in. So 6th grade is our beginning band, 7th grade is intermediate, and 8th grade is our advanced band, getting ready to move them up to the high school. This year is my largest 8th grade group that I've had since I started with the district in 2019. There are 34 8th graders this year in band.
Members of the board, because it's a presentation and it's an interesting and an important one. Just quickly, any questions or comments? We're not supposed to do that, but I don't think there'll be any infraction if you just getting information from part of our programs. Anybody? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're on 2A, approval of the following consent agenda items, payroll and expense vouchers as listed, 1 through 3. Entertain a motion
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindeman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bahrain?
Yes, action items. A, discussion action on the approval of certified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, board, there are emergency substitute teachers and 1 substitute teacher.
Entertain a motion to
I
approve.
move to approve the certified hires.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ramos. Discussion. Those emergency subs are actually, are they filling in for a regular?
Well, they become part of our regular
pool?
pool. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they get called if there's a vacancy or
Okay.
for a day or 2.
They're not long-term. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bahrain?
Yes, item B, discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, all with the exception of 2 are food service workers, and the rest are instructional aides.
Entertain a motion, Mr.
I
Lindeman.
move to approve the classified hires.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item C, discussion action on the approval of classified resignations. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, the only one that would, a recommendation of a non-rehireable status would be the last bullet point, due to, excessive absences and notification of resigning and not showing up the last 2 weeks of work.
Okay, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the classified resignations with the superintendent's recommendation.
So we have a second
Second.
by Mr. Ramos.
I know it's the one at Alaska.
Go ahead.
Who was the one,
The last bullet point, the last bullet name.
okay. And, on the first bullet hole I was looking at, it didn't specify whether they just resigned,
For which one, Mr.?
the first one.
Yes, there, it's on your background information, the letters. The first one is moving, actually, they're moving
Well-
away.
Well, I read it, and I
Uh-huh.
didn't see.
Where?
No,
No,
I
no
should-
meet.
I was
Mhm.
just
Yes, but
curious.
Mrs. Cox did meet with them, and they are a family that
Okay.
we work with, and
Okay, needed to go.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item C, discussion action on the approval of classified resignations. Ms. Samaniego.
actually, we're on D now. On D. We're on the athletic hire.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Second
Second.
by Mr. Ramos. Any conversation or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item D, discussion action on the approval of athletic hire. Ms. Samaniego.
We just, that was D, right? That we just
Right.
approved?
Yeah, we're on
voted
E.
for? So we're on E.
Or letter E?
We're on letter E. We just approved the athletic hire.
Did you approve that athletic hire?
We just finished.
We just finished that one.
Oh, I thought that was, you got way ahead of me.
I was following you, Mr. Breen, no, but if you need to go back and revisit.
I need to see my doctor. All right, I thought we were doing the approval of classified resignations and,
We had, and-
okay.
And we had done that, and then we went on to D, and we did that really quick.
Shades of Mr. Sabal. Item E,
Okay.
discussion action on the approval of classified transfers. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, these are current employees moving into a different position in the district with possibly a different change in hours.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the classified transfers.
Second.
By Mr. Ramos, any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, and I remember Mr. Sabal lovingly, and that wasn't being critical of him. Item F, discussion action on the approval of increase in hours. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, this employee is current employee also not moving to a different position, just increasing in hours of her current position.
And there's, get a motion on the floor.
I move to approve the increase in hours.
By Mr. Lindemann.
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Always with a justification for the increase in hours?
Yes, definitely. This is an ESS instructional aid, and because of a student in ESS who needs that extra support, or students.
Now, is that going to be ongoing, or is that just for the rest of the year, or is?
It's ongoing, ongoing.
But you said it was for
Well,
once.
I know, it could be for one student or various students. It's just for the needs of the ESS department. It's not a one, is it a one-to-one IA, Denise?
Yes.
It is? So if it's a one-to-one IA and the child were to leave the district, let's say, then obviously we would reconsider and either move that person or reduce the hours.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item G, discussion action on the approval of volunteers. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, we have two volunteers for athletics, baseball and soccer, both former Douglas High School athletes themselves, and you have the letters there with all their information.
Yeah, and those letters have been a great advantage to the board to actually see, you know, whether they're actually going to volunteer and contribute or whatever. So that's good. Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item H, discussion action on the approval of donations received for Douglas Unified School District number 27, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, you see there are various donations for different classroom projects. I do want to commend the staff at Clawson Elementary. Anytime that I receive any information regarding apply for a grant for teacher classroom projects, we send that out to, you know, district-wide teachers. And Clawson teachers have really taken advantage of those many grants, and so you see a list of several donations being made.
Let me ask you regarding that. Get a motion on the floor, Mr.
I move to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Does the teacher, because of what you just said, does the teacher unilaterally see that and just apply for the grant, or does some approval at that building level have to be made?
No, well, they submit a proposal. Every grant has different requirements, but they must submit.
No, I mean by the administration. Do they have to go to the administration and say?
Ms. Corey Moen? I'll have her respond to that since I'm not at the administrator building level.
I know a couple of
And
years ago.
Some do and others, I'm not too sure.
Good evening, board. Yes, so my teachers just make it a habit of letting me know. They're like, we applied for this, we don't know if we're going to get it. And it's all tied around STEM, so all of those grants are STEM. If you come into any, especially those two teachers, if you come into their classroom, they have made entire STEM corners from all the grants they've won. So they have like tables that are whiteboards and they move up and down. They have robot kits. They have Lego kits. It's everything. Some of it comes as checks to the district, and then they order through district-approved vendors. And then some of it, they just ask them for the list of items they want, and then they ship them the items.
Okay, because of, say, the logistics or the provisions that have to be made within the building, you would want, I know at the high school a couple of years ago, there was a grant that was kind of astounding that got, and nobody knew, it, you know, we were presented with it, nobody knew where it came from or who wrote it. And especially now with everything coming out of that very, very astute legislature, you know, with all of the restrictions and the provisions and that they're going to be putting on teachers. You need to know. I know you know that's what's going on in the classroom. Anyway, the point is that they certainly wouldn't ask for a program and then suddenly they surprise you with it and say, oh, it went to the board.
And it's
it got
not really
approved.
programs. It's kind of funding for STEM activities. So it's like purchasing robots. And they do let me know. They're like, we just applied for this because often I have to I get an email for approval. So I'll go and they'll let me know we're applying for this. We'll let you know if we get it.
Okay.
So that's how I know.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, and, you know, to follow up a little bit, there's, of all the crazy bills in that legislature, there's one that a teacher can be fined up to, is it $1,000 for if they're reported for teaching something that
is
inappropriate and that's not the only one. There's a couple more that directly affect a classroom teacher. Can you imagine sitting in a classroom if that bill were to be signed by the governor and you happen to say something that's questionable and a student goes home and tells the parent and the parent comes back, then you have to have, the bill says you have to have a hearing and then you can impose a fine. And that's horrific. And then you wonder why we're having to look at all of these emergency substitute teachers and all these things. Who would want to, item I. Discussion action pursuant to policy BGF to temporarily suspend policy BGB, requiring 2 readings of the proposed policies prior to approval of the adoption in order to approve the following policy advisories immediately upon the first reading. Mr. Lindemann, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yeah, I move to approve item I with the policy BGF to temporarily suspend the policy BGB and to approve our 2 readings.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Is there anything you want to point out to us, Ms. Samaniego, that's of any?
No, there were not, it wasn't much change. The family life education is with the sex education curriculum that we had brought to the board, did the 60-day review. So that policy did include a parent permission requirement. So what they did now is they created the parent permission so that all schools are standardized and have one instead of, Ray Bahrain have one, the high school have another one. So that was like the most change there, and the other ones are just a few language words in the policy, so nothing substantial.
Members of the board, do you have any questions or conversations, comments regarding any of those?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bahrain?
Yes, item J, discussion action on the approval of $2,000 for the purchase of security identification attire. Who's going to do that, Mr.
Yes,
Soto or
I'll
Ms.
open it
Samaniego?
up and I'll turn it over to Mr. Soto.
Go ahead.
Normally, we don't bring these type of purchases to the board, and the reason being is that when we adopted the budget at the very beginning of the year, our security department wasn't as large as we have the staffing now. And so this item per se for the purpose of the intent for the $2,000 wasn't, let's say, budgeted for. And so anytime we have to make expenses outside of what Mr. Soto had already agreed to do, we bring it to the board. I will turn it over to him since that's his department and the need for why we're bringing this.
Again, like Mrs. Samaniego said, is mostly that right now, and with me bringing the budget revision in March, then I'm going to include some monies there for actually them purchasing formal uniforms for the security department. What I'm asking now is the approval to just have some kind of vests and tags which says security front and back, so they're very well identified at the school levels. But then again, once I bring my budget revision in March, I'm going to include enough monies to purchase the actual uniforms. So this is just for
An immediate
for
purchase.
immediate solution.
And if you've attended, like at wrestling, Mr. Smith, you may see one security wearing a red sweatshirt, another one wearing a yellow one. And so if you remember, the only security we had as a team was really at Douglas High School because there was more of them, and then the security at the middle school. So they tended to wear the Douglas High School shirt or the, Ray Bahrain shirt or the, Huber shirt. So but we didn't have a set uniform, and security is important. We want to be able to identify who they are. We have them at all elementary schools, and we need to be able to clearly distinguish who they are, especially at athletic events, evening events, and you may have an elementary security be working a athletic event, and so they're wearing something, that you could just call them a regular Joe, you don't know who they are. And so that would be this purchase.
I think you appropriately said it in your background information when you said with the ongoing high priority of district security in all aspects, it is of utmost importance that the presence, accessibility, and identification of security officers be noted at all times, not only to the student body, who probably already know who they are anyway, but also easily and readily identifiable to the public in attendance in circumstances that may require their assistance. So I think it's important. So we'll get a motion on the floor.
I move to approve.
Is there a second? Is the money allocated 2,000, that's just to give you a little bit of a cushion to?
Correct. It's not the exact amount that we're going to use, but I mean, just in case.
It won't be more than that.
It won't be more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion, members of the
Yeah,
board?
Mr. President. Mr. Soto, looking into the future, now, are these going to be just vests, or are they going to be shirts where in the future they're going to have a budgeted allowance to purchase?
Right. Typically, what I do every year for every department, mainly for maintenance, for instance, and transportation, now for security, is actually have a line item where it says uniforms. This specific purchase is just for the vest, for the immediate solution, but we're planning on getting them shirts, polos, or hats and stuff like that, so they can be easily identified.
Well, then my question is, how many shirts per year? Are we going to go down, or are we going to have just the basic first one, and then you're, like many other officers and things like that, they purchase their next one. So you either get one and then that the company pays for, but then they pay for the other.
The typical thing that we've done, or other even districts do, is anywhere from, 2 to 3 shirts, for example, and then they're utilized and, they wash them and take care of them and all of that. So we'll budget that around, those numbers and figure out, a hat, some polo shirts, and this vest is, hopefully we can get it quickly, because what's happened is Mr. Ballesteros has been trying to get quotes for just like polos, locally, not locally, and it's just, pull and push to get quotes for basic uniforms. So that's the rule of thumb usually. We get a set number, and then if they, put Clorox on them or
Well,
whatever,
but-
then they purchase them.
Yeah, I don't know if that, if we have a set policy or not. Mr. Smith probably has more experience with that than,
Have you considered just like, instead of like a vest, just like a light jacket? They can, I guess sometimes they call it a raid jacket, where it just says security, identify them, you can get them in whatever.
Again, yeah, we talk about that, Mr. Smith, and that's going to be part of the uniform too, especially for cold days, like in the winter, a jacket, but it also says security. But then again, we need to order through a company, and that's the problem.
Well, what I was mentioning about the raid jackets, those are just a very lightweight. They can be worn over a T-shirt. They can be worn over another jacket. They're
Okay.
very, the sizes are made where they can fit a number of people, all
Right.
kind of almost one size fits all.
One size fits all.
And they'll fit over, like I said, either a jacket if it's cold or just a T-shirt if
Or
it's
just a T-shirt.
warm. But they're very lightweight. Just says in bright letters on the back, security. You pick
Okay.
them in whatever colors you want.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll look into that, yeah.
yeah, and that seems more logical than trying to get everybody a shirt in a specific size. But that's a good idea, I think.
Mr. Ramos? Do we have a motion on the floor?
Yes, sir.
Since Mr. Lindeman posed that question to you, I think it's important the board understand, you probably have 3 departments that you would customarily buy uniforms for, specifically because of identification, right? And that would be the cafeteria, maintenance, and now security, right? You don't buy clothing for other staff members, like on the 16th of September, you say, well, my secretary's been wonderful, I'm gonna buy her a China Poblana outfit, right? No. But seriously, you don't. Now, in athletics, they get all of the wear that they use, the coaches and staff, because that's part of your initial budget, and it's
Right.
approved by the board, right?
Yes.
But any other, say, sporadic or just purchase that would be made because somebody says, my secretary's done a good job, or they can't come to you and get a purchase order and
Correct.
buy all these jackets that say Douglas Business Department on them or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. That's just for clarification for you, Mr. Lennon.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Transportation too. Or
That
the
needed
other
to be said.
department.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Yes. Information items, superintendent.
As we were having our meeting, there was a message that came from Chuck Essex with ASBO, and it says, "Today the House approved expenditures in the excess of the AEL for the current school year. We now need to wait for the Senate to approve it. If the Senate also approves, no AEL reductions will be required for the school year. We hope the Senate approval happens soon." So that happened as we were
That's
meeting.
very, is that from Chuck Essex?
Yes.
Well, that merits a little discussion now, based on what we talked earlier, because as you well know, you people, because you follow it all the time with the ASBO, and the problem was always the House. It was the House representatives that were always the problem. The Senate should be, there'll be some discussion, but it shouldn't be any problem. So having said that, and nothing's a sure thing up there, right? So having said that, then we can pretty much, based on the earlier conversation, members of the board, we can pretty much have you do what was discussed earlier regarding the compression and that one-time payment, all right? And that would be for now, right?
Correct.
We would hold off on the one-time payment until after the Senate, it went to the Senate, so we'll see what happens there. And then we're going to be looking also, members of the board, we're also going to be looking at an increase for whatever we can do, and that's why we're doing what we're doing now, so that in the event that something happens and we can't do anything, we're also looking at next year's increase on the contracts for the certified and everybody, right? So just so that everybody's clear, you will be coming back to us on that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, very good. I'm glad you got that. So that brought us right up to date.
So just a few more things. Just want to remind our
Go ahead.
parents that we have the parent-teacher conferences and early release on the 9th. Early release day again on the 10th, which is this Friday. And next, February the 20th on Monday is President's Day, so there will be no school and district offices will be closed. And our next regular board meeting is March 7th.
Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
By Mr. Lindeman, is there a second? Why don't you let Mr. Smith make it? He
Yeah,
hasn't
we'll
made
let-
one yet.
I'll second.
Yeah, good. And you know, just because of protocol, we do this because unless it's a controversial item or a member of the board is reluctant to make the motion, if it's just business as usual, so to speak, we just like to get it on the floor. That doesn't mean that Mr. Lindeman is going to have to vote for it all the time. He can vote no. Okay? All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn? All those